As usual, I speak in the name of my ancestors, the father of my country, Jean-Jacques Dessalines, the goddess of my country, as Lee, my grandparents, Sayil and Asian Mocombe, who taught me the ways of the ancestors. This tutorial is just to sum up where we are thus far, as I will complete my manuscript for Routledge as well as my journal articles. So far what we've covered is the fact that Haitian Vodou, the demystification of Haitian Vodou, gives us an epistemology. So we're talking about the demystification and rationalization of Vodou gives us an epistemology which I call Haitian Vilokan Idealism. And within Haitian, this epistemological perspective, which parallels transcendental idealism, there are four processes, I call, or four methods and philosophies within Haitian Vilokan Idealism. So the demystification and rationalization of Vodou gives us an epistemology, Haitian Vilokan Idealism, that has four methods and four processes. One being a phenomenology, it's a hermeneutical phenomenology, which is interpretive phenomenology, which arises as a result of the concepts we find in Vodou, what Haitians call loi in Vodou. There's a materialism because we recursively reorganize and reproduce the contents of consciousness in our material practices, so it becomes our form of practical consciousness. There's an anti-dialectic within this epistemological perspective, which simply refers to the historical process within how human beings encounter the historical process within Haitian Vodou. And all of this is framed within a normative ethic of reciprocal justice, which is an eye for an eye ethic in Haitian Vodou. And all of this is framed within a socio-political system or a form of system and social integration. The Lakou system is the form of system integration, and the voodoo, what I call the voodoo ethic in the spirit of communism, is the form of social integration. From that, I deduce a theory and methodology I call phenomenological structuralism, which is a theory of social action, of human action, which I've developed for the social sciences. And you can look up the journal article titled Phenomenological Structuralism, a Theory of Human Action, which is a peer-reviewed journal article. There's also a book coming out titled Phenomenological Structuralism. So I've deduced from the four methods and concepts we find in Haitian epistemology, which is the phenomenology, materialism, the anti-dialectic, the reciprocal justice, I've deduced a theory and methodology to resolve the structure agency problematic of the social sciences, and I call that theory a phenomenological structuralism, which has four theories. I argue that there are four areas or four notions of praxis within phenomenological structuralism. This theory and method, I argue, leads to my theory of learning and development. My theory of learning and development I call the mocombeian strategy. Mocombeian strategy. So what I've argued is, out of Haitian Vodou, which is the metaphysics, the religion metaphysics of the African Haitians that would come to constitute the Haitian state of the nation state of Haiti, an epistemology I call Haitian Vilokan Idealism, which has four methods or four components, elements: phenomenology, materialism, anti-dialectic, reciprocal justice, expressed through a form of system and social integration I call the Lakou system and the voodoo ethic in the spirit of communism. Out of that, I've deduced a theory and method for the social sciences I call, so in place of an Afrocentric perspective, I introduce a phenomenological structural perspective as the theory and methodology that comes out of Haitian Vodou and Haitian epistemology. And in the process I've developed a theory of learning and development I call the Mocombean strategy and Mocombe's reading series, which is a curriculum of books to teach my theory, which is based on my theory of learning and development. And eventually will develop will apply that for to use Haiti as a case study to develop a Creole reading room series based on my theory of learning and development. Within my theory of learning and development, for me, learning and development is not only socio-cultural in the Vygotskian sense or cognitive in the Chomskyan sense, but it's both. It's socio-cultural and cognitive, and it's tied into the theory of action